Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Friendly Frequencies podcast. Yes, you heard it correctly. I changed my name back to Friendly Frequencies. That's going to be the name of the podcast from now on. If any of you remember who have followed me for a while or who know me, I used to have the name Friendly Frequencies as my art business, and before changing it to Creatively Carmen. The reason I changed it from that, I always loved the name Friendly Frequencies, but I changed it from Friendly Frequencies to Creatively Carmen because I was advised by different professional artists and people who kind of had their own art business that I should have my name in the title, and also Friendly Frequencies is not very descriptive of an art business. It doesn't really make sense. And so I changed it to something with my name, which I did like Creatively Carmen as well. But I'm very happy to, as much as it's kind of funny that I have to go through the whole rebranding thing that I already just went through, but I'm actually really happy to be able to use this name again because I always really liked it, and it really works well with the podcast. I'm glad that I had thought about it. I guess I thought about my podcast name long before the podcast was even an idea in my head. But anyways, so this is now the Friendly Frequencies podcast. I will kind of just put the name Creatively Carmen aside. I'm looking to really focus on this podcast, not necessarily more than my artwork, but it's definitely, I'm not going to have Creatively Carmen be for the art and Friendly Frequencies be for the podcast. I don't want to confuse anybody, so I'm just going to make it all Friendly Frequencies, and it's all just me doing different things, and we'll see how it evolves over time, but I think that the name will stick for the podcast for sure. It definitely goes really nicely with what I'm talking about and what I'm all about. So, anyways, so there's my intro to the intro. But yes, welcome. If you're new here, my name is Carmen McLeod. I host this podcast, and it's fairly new. It talks about, or I like to talk about, things that light me up, such as consciousness, creativity, spirituality, all the things that are just trippy, exciting, unknown, all of that stuff. It's just, it's a wide umbrella of things, but really I'm a very spiritual person. I'm quite the hippie myself. I'm on this spiritual journey, especially traveling through Cambodia and through Southeast Asia at the moment. So this is my platform to talk about all of the spiritual awakenings that I continue to keep having. So let's get on with the show. I like to start each episode, at least while I'm out here on my travels throughout this year, I like to start each episode by giving an update of how I'm doing and any updates about what I'm doing, how I'm doing, any of that stuff, because it's an ever-flowing process of me kind of awakening and discovering new things about myself and about the world and the universe. So an update for now, from what I've been doing out here, I'm still in Cambodia, and I've been in Cambodia for over a month now. I've been in the same location for about 3 weeks, and on this very remote island. I'm about halfway finished through my second mural painting out here. So just to recap, I'm traveling through Southeast Asia and New Zealand, and through Southeast Asia I will be staying with multiple different people across Cambodia, the Philippines, and they will letting me stay with them, feeding me, and I will be painting them some murals in return. So I'm a traveling mural artist, and so now I am about 2.5 murals in, and I'm having the time of my life. So and so that's just what I'm doing, on a physical sense. Obviously continuing to meditate constantly, and I'm really excited because I've been learning more about breath work, which is something that I've been really wanting to learn about. Before coming out here, I really wanted to learn more about different forms of breath work, which is very similar to meditation, but it's kind of different ways that you can breathe and different techniques of breathing that can do different things for your body and your mind and your soul and that kind of stuff. It's all part of the whole yoga system. I'm learning about it right now. I'm actually reading a manual on it that Jay, the guy I'm staying with, he has, and it's amazing. I'm eating it up. So haven't finished it yet, but definitely I'm going to be making some podcasts about it once I've kind of got more of a handle on all of it, because it's very complex. But yeah, I've been practicing it, and I'm just I'm getting so into the world of meditation that I've been just so excited to get into, and it's really like unfolding more and more every day. So yeah, other than that, that's just kind of the update for now. So for the episode, what I'm going to talk about is epiphanies and downloads. So I will start by just explaining like what an epiphany is, what a download is, in case any of you don't know. I'm sure most of you have heard of an epiphany, I'm very sure you guys have had them. Do you hear the thunder? Wow, I kind of hope you guys could hear that, because that was great. There's thunderstorms literally 24/7 in Southeast Asia. They're not always over top of me, or they kind of move around. But no matter where you are, you can see lightning from a distance. Even if it's sunny out, you can see way down the ocean, you can see there's a thunderstorm down there. It's very cool. I really love it. I'm obsessed with thunder and lightning, and so it's really fun. So anyways, hopefully you got to hear that, because it's kind of what I hear all the time. But anyways, let's get back on track. So yeah, most of you have probably had an epiphany before. An epiphany is just a sudden revelation or realization of something. It's usually something of significance. So a lot of people will have an epiphany about like what they want out of life, or the way they view life, or I had an epiphany and now I know, or something that I didn't know before. Anyways, it just kind of comes and it hits you out of nowhere. And usually it's kind of like sparked by something, like maybe something that just someone said and it just clicked for you, and you're like, oh my goodness. And then it just gives you this whole epiphany of like, wow, okay, I see things so differently now. Anyways, that's an epiphany. A download is a spiritual epiphany. So very similar. However, it's more in the spiritual sense of you're receiving a message from the universe. And so when you have a download, it's something comes to you, and it can be something that gives you an epiphany, but the way it comes to you is like through the universe. It's through a higher source. Source comes through you. Source, God, universe, whatever it is you want to call it. But that's a download. So a lot of people talk about downloads in the spiritual community and the personal development community. Like all the podcasts I listen to, like the hosts will talk about the downloads that they have, and it's really amazing. And I was lucky enough to have my own. So I'm going to talk to you about the 3 major epiphanies that I had in the last year, maybe 2 years. Let's say 2 years. In the last 2 years, I had 3 major epiphanies, and one was a download / epiphany. Okay, so get ready. It's very exciting stuff, and the last one is the most exciting and the most life-changing. So, epiphany number 1. I used to, as some of you may know, I spent my entire life planning to become a police officer. Since the age of 10-ish, I watched Cops, the television show Cops, for the first time, and I realized that's when I decided, okay, this is what I want to do. I want to be a cop. I want to I want to have all this action in my life. I want to pull over the bad guys and bust them for being high on cocaine and chase them down the street. This seems like so much fun. Of course, that's what I was thinking at that age. And I kind of never wavered from that. Of course, I grew up and found new reasons to be a police officer that were less shallow and immature, I guess. I definitely, throughout time, realized, okay, there's other reasons to be a police officer. But I found those reasons. I wanted to help the people. But at the end of the day, because you can help people in many ways. You don't have to be a police officer to help people. But I really underlying, I feel like it wasn't just because I wanted to help people. It was that I wanted the exciting job. I wanted the job where I wasn't just sitting at a desk. I wanted to be out there doing stuff, having the excitement and all of that. So I was really influenced by television, but even though, and as I grew up and even, I got my criminology degree, I met police officers through my work at the community policing center and through my degree at school. And, everybody told me it's not what you see on TV. And I knew that, I found out that it was like 80-90% paperwork. Still didn't care, still wanted to do it. Anyways, about 2 years ago, was it 2 years? Yeah, about a year and a half. Okay, so a year and a half ago, my first epiphany. This is when I decided that policing is not for me, and I did a full switch in my career. So I had spent the last 10 years, or 11 years, focused on policing, and I had total tunnel vision. It was all part of the process. I don't regret any of it, but oh my gosh, I didn't think about any other career. And I was so set on being a police officer. I never even thought about any other career. So anyways, one day I'm just watching a movie, and it's just literally a horror movie. It was around Halloween time, I guess. I don't know. And definitely the movie isn't of significance. I don't even remember what it was called, but it was just a simple scene of a man and wife were outside their front porch, kind of like in the Midwest or wherever in the U.S., with their baby, and they're swinging on the rocking chair or something. It was just kind of a cute scene of like a really happy little family. And I mean, so then I see that, I was like, oh, that seems like really peaceful. I don't think that I could have that life if I was a police officer, because I would be stressed all the time, or I would be probably living in a big city, because I always planned to be in the Vancouver Police Department. That's what was always my plans, right? Even though I don't like cities. So I don't know why that was always my plan, but I just wanted to be near the action, right? So obviously I wouldn't be able to live like way out in the boonies and do that. And so then that kind of just sparked something for me. It was weird. It was just such a tiny, simple little scene, and it just sparked something. I was like, okay. What do I really want from life? I don't know. It was weird. So then that kind of went on for a little bit. I started thinking about it more, and it just like snowballed. And then I started thinking, well, you're scared of spiders. Like, how can you, or I remember like my brother would be like, well, how can you, if you can't like deal with the spider that's in your room, like how are you going to be a police officer, or like stuff like that, right? And I started thinking about that, and I was like, oh yeah, like, I mean, yeah, I can't even watch somebody clip their toenails. I'm dead serious. I can't watch somebody clip their fingernails or their toenails because it's so disgusting. Not disgusting, like it makes me cringe it's like watching someone get hurt even though they're not getting hurt. Anyways, that kind of stuff. So then that came up, like a bunch of different things came up, and I started thinking, really just reevaluating, like, who am I, and what really fits with me, and is policing really for me? And through so many different reasons. And actually, this was during the Black Lives Matter issue around this time, but it actually had nothing to do with that, because a lot of people, I remember when I started to talk about it, people were like, oh yeah, well, I can see why you don't want to be a police officer anymore because of what's going on in the world, and and I was like, no, actually, it's not because of that, because this stuff with the police has been going on for a long time, and it didn't actually make a difference. It wasn't that I lost my respect for the policing career or anything like that. No, I still have a huge respect for police officers, and I still worked with them after deciding not to, because I worked at the community policing center. So it didn't actually have to do with that, but it was around that time. So just many different reasons came up, and I just started to really see myself as somebody who wants to live with as much of an absence of stress as possible. And I know that most law enforcement officers live with so much stress, and they can't really turn that part off. It's very hard for them to turn that part of their brain off. I learned a lot about it, and I was warned a lot about how hypervigilant you become, how your relationships are often really affected by, when you're in a relationship with somebody who's in law enforcement, it's really tough to remain have a good, strong relationship. It really affects a lot of aspects outside of your life when you work in this job, and I'm not trying to scare anybody away from the job because it's, it's definitely for some people. I know a lot of really happy police officers. However, it's not for me, and I know that clearly now, but it took me 10 years to figure that out. So anyways, am I missing any? Yeah, so once I decided, okay, no, I don't want to be a police officer anymore. I was already 3/4 through my degree in criminology. I was like, oh shit, okay, well maybe I can, I don't know, find a way to change my minor or something. So I ended up changing my minor to counseling. So what I did was I started looking at jobs within the field of criminology. So then social work came up, counseling came up. I was still operating under the mindset of I need to have a real job. That makes me cringe now, and I don't know. I think that I was still influenced by my time in the public school system, because I did go to public school for about 10 years or so. I was homeschooled until grade 6, and then from grade 6 to graduation, I did go to public school. And I can actually see, oh, okay, so that time in public school kind of did a little bit of brainwashing to me, the way that, they do to most people, which is, you need to get a real job. Oh, you can't be an artist. So at this time, I was an artist. I had been an artist for about a year, selling my artwork the whole time. But I didn't think that I could do the whole art thing as my career, even though I knew people who were doing it. And this was right around the time also that I was kind of introduced to my mentor Andrea's podcast, the Artist Academy podcast. Check that out if you want to be an artist, because it totally inspired me to become an artist. Anyways, but at the time I was still I had my art business, but I did not think that I could make a career out of it, because I was still I had a little bit of the old paradigm thinking still in my head of that this wouldn't work out or whatever. So I was like, okay, well, the next thing that I would be interested in is counseling or social work. So I ended up switching my minor to counseling, and so on, so on. Anyways, about, I don't know, maybe 6 months, less than a year later, I've decided, and I don't know exactly when this wasn't necessarily an epiphany, because I don't remember the time and place that I realized this, but that I decided that, okay, that I do want to make art my full-time career, and that I can do whatever the hell I want to do and make money doing it. So, I'm not going to pick, yes, counseling actually has always interested me. Fun fact, it was the very, very first job that I had ever thought of as a kid. When people asked what I wanted to do when I grew up, before policing, I said counseling. So I thought, oh, maybe the counseling is for me, and it definitely is something I would be really good at, and something that I would love to do. But obviously I would rather be an artist. So once I kind of shook out of that mindset of I need a real job, being an artist isn't a real job, once I kind of realized that that's actually not true anymore, used to be true, now it's not, I shifted gears. I, had decided that I'm gonna, obviously it's too late to change my degree anymore, so, I have the degree, whatever. Once I finish, I'm gonna go full-time art. And I proudly bore that on my shoulder. I told people at first I was a little embarrassed to say it, because, people look at you funny when you say that kind of thing. And people still have that old paradigm thinking as well, right? With the way things used to be. And anyway, but over time I decided I was able to be more confident with it. And I think also because I had that art business, that I already had my art business running, and it was already doing well. So it was kind of easy for me. It was way more easy for me to confidently say, yeah, this is what I'm going to be doing. I'm already doing it, and it's going well. Okay, so that was a long version of it, but that's my epiphany number 1. Okay, that's why I decided to move away from policing and to become an artist. Total 360 spin. It took a little bit to get there, but yeah, I'm really thankful that I decided that I figured this part of me out before becoming a police officer, because holy shit, becoming a police officer is brutal work. Not trying to scare you again, but oh my gosh, I know people who've, become police officers through my work, and our volunteers, they get put through hell and back to become police officers for good reason, because you need to be, it's a toughness challenge, right? You need to, you can't just hire anyone as a police officer. You have to be, willing and able to do this kind of stuff. So anyways, I'm just really thankful I didn't go through that whole rigorous process, physically, mentally, all of that, in order to decide I don't want to do this anymore. So thankful for that. But that was actually probably definitely like one of the biggest epiphanies of my life. And so that kind of catches you up to me becoming an artist, or me deciding that art is going to be my career. Okay. So epiphany number 2 is my travel epiphany. So as I mentioned, I'm traveling through Southeast Asia. I've been traveling for a few months. I'm going to be traveling for about almost a year, about 10 months. And this came through an epiphany. So this was maybe half a year ago, and I was dancing in my kitchen, listening to Even the Nights Are Better by Air Supply, and just singing and just being so joyful, and for no reason. I can't even remember. I was just making breakfast, but and I just remember the song that was playing and the joy that I was feeling. I had no one home. I think that's why I was singing and dancing really loud, because usually my parents are home, or usually my dad is always home, but at this time, like, nobody was home, and that usually never happens. So anyways, I was just being really, excited, and so this feeling of joy that I was experiencing, I was like, just kind of like came over me. I was like, I want to feel like this forever. And then that led to, like, pretty immediately, I want to keep traveling, because I had I already had this trip planned with Evan to go. Evan's my boyfriend. He and I planned to go for a month or two to Thailand. And anyway, so this was already planned for like a year or two, probably 2 years it was planned. And anyway, so during this like fun little dance party I was having, I decided I should quit my job and go and be just full-time traveling, just go live my best life and have joyful moments like this every day. And it was like, whoa, okay, holy shit. Okay, so I, spent that day, I was like, okay, let's just think about this. Don't need to talk about it yet. And like, no need to get other people's opinions yet, because this is just totally like an epiphany you just had. Could have been a download, honestly. Like, maybe it came from a spiritual source. I don't know. Like, maybe it was a download. I don't know. Either way, it was an epiphany. And pardon the noise going on below me, but so I was like, okay, don't talk about it yet. Like, just kind of keep it to yourself. Think about it yourself before getting other people's opinions. And then, of course, like, my brother Hugh comes over later, and he and my mom are in the kitchen talking about the exciting stuff going on in their life. And then I come out and I hear it, and I'm like, and then I just obviously blurted it and was like, this is what I'm doing. And I was like, oh, wow, okay, well, I'm like, okay, I never decided this is what I was doing. I just couldn't help it but tell them, because I was so excited. And they were excited, and I was like, okay, well, I'm still going to think about it, but I kind of threw it out the window that I wasn't going to tell anybody. So anyways, so then I ended up, I think, telling Evan later in the day too. I was like, okay, I'm not necessarily doing this. This is what I just thought of today, and it's kind of in my mind. And okay, so then I just told everyone about it, but whatever. I could not keep it to myself. I was so excited, and everyone was supportive. Everyone was happy. And so I decided to wait 1 week before making it official. Wait 1 week before, like, I could tell people about what I'm thinking, and it wasn't like a secret or anything, but I wasn't going to go and like quit my job right away, obviously, right? So I waited. I said, okay, 1 week, let's think about it. I think my mom suggested, like, maybe wait a week before talking to your work, just to make sure you're clear. So I waited a week, and I was more clear than I had ever been. So I went and talked to my boss, and he was so supportive of it, and really happy for me, and gave me all the good travel tips, and it was great. I was so thankful for that. So I gave him like 3 months notice, just because of the job that I have. Like, we kind of need lots of time to figure out a replacement for me. But I So that was my second epiphany. Let's see. Yeah, and then within that week, I had doubted myself a lot. Not a lot necessarily, but I do remember one point of like, I was laying in bed listening to some jazz music that was really like comforting to me, made me feel like I'm at home. It's the kind of jazz that I would listen to in the bath or like just listen to around Christmas time. Just makes me feel really like homey. And I started crying uncontrollably because I just thought about how much I'm gonna miss being at home in my bed. I'm gonna miss Evan. I'm gonna miss my mom. I'm gonna miss my family. Like, what am I gonna do? I was like, am I being crazy right now? Kind of just thinking in my head, like, maybe you're being crazy. Why would you leave your home for a year? How could you leave all of this, right? And I thought that maybe I was just being crazy and that I shouldn't do it. And thank God I did not go with that thought. So I didn't end up following that. It was just kind of a seed of doubt that came in. Of course they're going to come in. I have doubted myself many times, of course. And yeah, so I got out of that doubtingness. It was just, all I remember is that one moment. And then after that, I was crystal clear that this is what is going to happen. I'm making the right choice and I'm not looking back. And I literally have not looked back since. That was epiphany number 2. And alright, so epiphany number 3 is next. And this one is my favorite because it is a spiritual download. Oh my gosh, this is just the kind of thing that I'm like almost searching for, that I've been, since this happened, that's another reason that I'm really, really obsessed with meditation, is because I really want this to happen again. I'm so open for more downloads to come in because meditation is really a key thing for receiving downloads. Like, it's really difficult to receive messages from the universe or from source when your clouded mind is racing with thoughts, when you're stressed out all the time, and when you're, and you don't have to be out in Cambodia like I am. Like, you can be at home and you can still be in this meditative state and still be in a state to receive downloads, of course. And because I was at home actually, and I had a billion things going on around me. I was like tying up every loose end of my life. I was a full-time student trying to finishing up my degree. So like a lot of work was going on and I had a million things on my to-do list, but I still made sure that I carved out the time, because this was my favorite thing to do, is my meditation baths. So every Friday and Sunday I would have a meditation bath, or at least once a week I would get in the bath, meditate, sometimes get stoned, whatever, and just meditate for like 15 minutes and then watch shows after that. But these meditation baths were like the highlight of my week, my favorite thing, because I have such an amazing bathtub. So anyways, I was having this one meditation bath and I had this profound download while I was meditating. I could see myself. I don't know how it came over me. It just came into my mind of, you're meant to do so much more than just be an artist. And you are meant to do huge things for this world. You're meant to change the world. And then I saw myself public speaking, which I'm like most people, I hate public speaking. I mean, nobody likes public speaking until they become good at it, right? It scares the hell out of me as well. But it just came to me. And I was like, and then I started crying while meditating and tears came down and I was so thankful and so overjoyed. I was like, whoa, like, what is this? And yeah, I saw myself literally like I just saw myself changing the whole world with my words. And, well, not necessarily just my words, but that was one part of it. And so from that, the podcast was born. So this podcast came from an epiphany, a spiritual download. Like, this podcast was an idea not from me, but from the universe. It was me. Yeah, I knew that it was the right thing. Like, when it came to me, I was like, wow, what a great idea. And it made me realize, like, yeah, like, I do want to continue to be an artist. And I will. But for me, I have such a profound belief in, like, that I can do whatever I want in this world, like I've mentioned before. whatever I want out of my life, I can do. And my success is inevitable. I can make money doing whatever the hell I want to do. So let's dream big. And being an artist is actually was already dreaming really big, because to make it as an artist, it's a lot of work and it's really rewarding. You get to do what you love every day, and it's really amazing. And so I do want to have that be part of my career, to continue to be part of it. But through this download, I just found out that I'm meant for more than that. That's not my entire career. My career is, and my dharma, my path on this planet, my soul's purpose. That's what dharma is. It's your soul's purpose. I feel like I kind of figured it out in that moment, almost. Just like, I'm meant to change the world through explaining the things that come through me, like explaining my downloads, and just talking and getting out there information that I've been taught that has changed my life. And I just know that it can change other people's lives. And I'm on this like crazy spiral of awesomeness in my life, and just attracting more and more, like of everything. Like, I have so much abundance right now, and it's all because of my belief system and my I'm so open to receiving all of this stuff, and hence why I received the downloads. So if none of you guys have ever had a meditation bath, highly recommend it. I mean, I'm not going to go on and recommend like getting stoned to the audience, but it definitely is more fun when in the meditation. But I definitely would suggest, like, just, I'm not going to suggest, because it actually is best to meditate sober. And like, I happened to be stoned during this meditation bath when this epiphany came, when this download came. However, it's just as powerful, like, either way, and it's actually better to do it not stoned. So I'm not going to recommend that part, but I'm going to say definitely carve out one day a week, like pick a day. I always chose Friday nights because I had to work Saturday mornings, so I could never go out. So like Friday nights were my thing, but pick a night, pick a day, whatever that you decide. I'd suggest nighttime because obviously you get tired after. And yeah, just like get really comfy in the bath, get a bath pillow. You can't do it without a bath pillow. It's not comfortable otherwise, and you just can't get into it as well. But yeah, and put on some frequency noises. I would just go on YouTube or something, and I would just type HZ. They have it on Spotify and all the other platforms too. If you just type HZ, like hertz or frequency or whatever, I would just type HZ, and then all these different frequencies would come up, like different numbers, 300 frequency or 300 hertz, whatever, 400 hertz. And each one would be for a different reason. So like the love frequency, the abundance frequency. Oh, this will attract you money, or this and that, whatever. Would pick whatever one that you feel like you need at the moment. And I would just pick whatever one called out to me in the moment. And it's just a nice thing to like have in the background. I'm not really one that loves guided meditations, but they're very helpful. I would recommend, like, I've done some. I think before starting meditation, like, I would recommend doing some guided meditations, maybe just to understand like what it actually is and like how to do it properly. But once you know, I would suggest kind of maybe like whatever. Actually, like it doesn't actually matter. I'm guided meditations are just as good, or maybe even better. I'm not sure. Just for me, I don't really like to have the guided meditation. I just like the noises. So whatever works best for you. The point is just tune off your mind, and you don't have to, like, when a thought comes in, don't be like, oh, don't think that, like, shut it down. No, you just literally, you notice it and gently move away. Oh, I'm noticing that I'm thinking about work. Okay, I'm going to put that aside. Sometimes it helps to have like a whiteboard. I actually put a whiteboard beside my bathtub because if I thought about something that I needed to remember, I needed to write it down so that I could get back in the zone and keep meditating. That's always helpful. So yeah, like some other tips for noticing downloads and epiphanies if you want to get into the space of being able to receive these kind of things. Yeah, so first, I mean, meditation is like the key, very, very important, like for a million reasons. But if you want to experience this like state of consciousness where you are open to receiving messages from the universe, I don't think anything sounds better than that. That literally sounds like the best thing in the world to me. Like, to receive messages from the universe, like, oh my gosh. So if you're interested in that, I'd suggest definitely diving into meditation. Also, just to like, another good idea is to set some intentions for not necessarily what you want to receive, because you can't really know what it is that you're going to receive, but just be open to receiving. So, like, set the intention of, like, when I started sending intentions before going to bed, that I would remember my dreams. Because also, like I mentioned, I'm learning to lucid dream. I'm in the process of, writing down my dreams when I wake up every morning and stuff like that. So I would set the intention before bed that I'm gonna, have, some vivid dreams. I'm gonna remember and this and that. I'm gonna have great dreams, whatever. So I also like to set intentions. Before meditating or before the day starts. Like, I want to be open today to receiving anything that the universe wants me to know. That kind of, just setting that one simple intention is a great idea, because just being clear, like, that you are open to receiving is key to receiving, So set the intention for what you want in general. Like, this is a whole key for life. It's not just for this topic, but, so start setting intentions if you want to receive. And another key thing is, like, don't wait for it to happen for you to believe it. So another part of the intention setting is, like, if you set the intention that you want this to happen, but you don't actually believe what I'm saying, like, if you think that I'm crazy for what I'm talking about right now, and you're not a spiritual person, you don't believe it, it's going to be hard for it to happen to you because you are not in the space to receive it. So it's not like, this goes for a lot of different things in spirituality. Like, if you're waiting for proof in order to believe, you're never going to find the proof, because the proof will, like, it's not going to show up for you because you don't believe. So it's all about the frequency you're putting out and the mindset that you have. If you are open to, if you believe that this is true and that you're ready to experience it, great. Then you're on the right path. But if you're not, it's totally fine. You definitely don't have to be into this kind of stuff. But if you're waiting for proof before believing, then you may have to relook at that and just kind of switch up the mindset there, because I doubt that it's going to come for you. Because even if it did come, like, that download is still probably there waiting for you. But you're not in a space to receive it because you don't even believe that you can, right? So how could you receive something that you don't believe you can receive? I'm sure that you've maybe been spoken to by the universe so many times and you just never knew, and you never noticed it or something, like, So that's something to keep in mind as well. And so, yeah, between those things that I mentioned, meditate, set intentions, and kind of believe it before seeing it. If you have all of those, then you're set up for success. I think that you're gonna have some beautiful downloads in your life, and don't worry if it's if you're waiting and waiting, like, oh my gosh, I need this download. Like, it's gonna come to you when it's ready. Like, you're gonna receive many downloads in your life. You're gonna have lots of epiphanies, and so just keep on moving through life. Like, you don't need to put so much pressure on it as well. I was never expecting, like, I didn't know what to expect out of this meditation thing. I did kind of expect this sort of thing to happen because, like, that's what I heard. I've heard, like, lots of stories of people who had, like, really profound downloads and stuff like that through it. So I was always hoping and, like, really, like, kind of wanted to find out, but I didn't put so much pressure on it. Like, I need this to happen. And if it didn't happen, like, maybe this is all bullshit. Like, no, you need to just don't put so much pressure on it. Just relax and enjoy the process of meditating. Like, really, like, it's not it's kind of like, you don't need, the destination is not the download. Like, don't be meditating in order to receive these really cool messages from the universe. Like, that's just a bonus, and that's really amazing stuff, but that's not why you should meditate. Meditation is, to really clear your mind and to become one with the universal consciousness that is. All of us are one. It's one of the laws of the universe, I'm pretty sure, is that, universal oneness. Like, we are all one. We are all one connected source. We are the universe. This is the thing that you channel when you meditate. I'll be doing lots more on the whole laws of the universe thing, or subject throughout time. I'm right now learning about the spiritual laws of success, which are quite similar, but they are different. So once I have more knowledge on this, I'm going to share more about it. But anyways, so I think that's about it. I hope that you took something from this, and I'm glad I got to share more of my kind of life story with you of how I got here and how I, became a podcaster. And it's really kind of a funny, process. And it was already funny to go from policing to artist, but to, and then now to podcaster/artist. But it's interesting. But I have huge visions for this podcast. I am so excited about it. I am not going to stop. I'm not going to, this is it. Like, I figured out that this is like the starting point to really reaching a lot of people, and I'm freaking excited about it. So thank you for tuning in today, and I hope that you really enjoyed the episode. I would love if you could, if you send me a message or, whatever, make a post on your story or whatever to say that you liked it. But if you took anything from this, or if any of this stuff that I talk about on the podcast, any of the episodes, if any of it helps you, please let me know, because that's just like music to my ears. Or if there's anything that I'm always open to feedback, so please let me know, and that would be fantastic. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you in a week. Okay, bye-bye.